Hello and welcome back to this very special Christmas edition of our Google Workspace Update podcast from Strawberry 7. My name is Adam.
And my name is Adam.
We're here every week to bring you the latest updates on what's happening around Google Workspace. If you want to see us this week in our festive outfits because it's so close to Christmas, then please check out the video podcast available on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/strawberry7. Alternatively, this podcast is always available in audio format from your regular podcast provider. You are looking very, very festive, Adam. You've got not just the festive top, but also the festive Santa hat as well. So I like that.
Thank you very much. This top, it works two ways, because Jolly is actually another YouTube channel that I like to watch, actually. But it fits this purpose equally well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, the Santa hat really sells it, so I think you're looking very, very festive there. Just to let our listeners know as well, we are recording this podcast on the 23rd. This is going to air on Boxing Day, so this is something for you to all listen to, hopefully full of turkey and stuffing and all of those sorts of lovely Christmas delights. Due to our timings, we're not going to be recording a podcast for the next week, so we will be back on Monday, the 9th of January. In 2023. My goodness, we're living in the future, aren't we, Adam? 2022. So we will see you on the 9th of January 2023. But for now, let's get to it.
On with the show. Right, so first up, we've got three mini little updatelets to give you first. So jumping straight into it. So the first one is to do with Google Drive. Drive approvals are now available on Android and iOS apps. So Google Drive users have the ability to send an item for approval on the web since 2021. These approvers can comment, approve, or reject a request on a file. Starting this week, Drive approvals are now available on the Drive Android and iOS apps. This is available to Google Workspace Essentials, Business Standard, Business Plus, Enterprise Essentials, Enterprise Standard, Enterprise Plus, Education Plus, and Legacy G Suite Business customers only.
Yeah, okay, wow, this is that's a really handy little update, isn't it? And just for any listeners who are thinking, what is this approvals thing? As Adam said in the update there, this is something that's been available on the web version since 2021. And it's kind of it's sort of an extension of the comment system, isn't it, Adam, where you can go into a document and you can sort of set whether you want something to be approved. I mean, this is in Google Drive, so I think this is more related to a particular file, isn't it? But you can basically do this approval sort of task, if you like, where you say, do you, as my line manager or person who's working with me on this project, do you approve this file change or this thing that I've done? And basically this update is saying that that's now available on the apps, isn't it? So I think I've got that right, haven't I, Adam?
Yes, that's right. So yeah, literally, as we just said, you used to be able to do it on the web since about 2021. Now you can do the exact same thing on your Android or iOS device. So that just makes it a bit easier for everyone, really.
Great, okay, no problem. And what have we got next there, Adam?
Up next, this one is to do with Google Sheets. So new keyboard shortcuts for Google Sheets on Android. So in continuing Google's mission to provide a top-class user experience on large-screen devices, they're releasing new and updated keyboard shortcut options on Android that better align with the Google Sheets web experience.
Oh, okay, so some quite simple things there with just adding some shortcuts. I mean, on a few episodes now, this is getting quite interesting. On quite a few episodes, we've seen Google focusing quite a lot on these large screen devices, as they call them, haven't we? And sort of adding, almost trying to bridge that gap between a touchscreen device and a computer and put you so that you can do more things on those, as they say, larger screen devices, whatever that category is.
Yes, and we did also see I think it was quite a few episodes ago now that they did already update the keyboard shortcuts that were available on the Android devices. So this is just an update alert, so I don't have the full facts for this one, so I'm not sure. Assuming they've just added a few more onto the previous update that they announced.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. Yeah, just expanding those keyboard shortcut functionality. So I think for anybody wanting to take advantage of this feature, probably have a look at the keyboard shortcuts that are available on the web version and then try them out on the Android app to see what's available there. Thank you, Adam. What have we got next?
Up next is to do with Google Drive, so adding functionality for storage management. So adding shared drive storage limits and shared drives IDs are now available as part of the new set of tools for managing storage. So this adds on to an update that was back in episode 7 of our podcast, actually, where Google announced updates to storage management tools in the admin console, which included a new super admin role. At the time, the ability to apply storage limits to shared drives was coming soon, so it looks like that feature is now available.
Oh wow, that's fantastic. So this is, like you say, following on from something in episode 7, and the storage management tools sounded really, really handy in certain sort of situations with these admins, so that you can, like you say, apply those storage limits and things like that. And it's great to see that it was something that was coming soon, and now it's been announced about 9 episodes later. We've actually seen this coming through. So I think these shared drive storage limits will be very useful, considering that Google are making some changes around how storage is allocated on license tiers of Google Workspace. So what I mean by that is they're moving more to this sort of pooled storage idea. So rather than each user getting, I don't know, 60 gigabytes or whatever, instead, as an organization, you get a pooled storage of, say, 2 terabytes or something like that. So applying these limits where you're saying, okay, I want to limit the marketing department to this amount of storage and the sales department to this amount of storage, or a particular class if you're in an education environment, I can see how that would be really useful as an admin to keep that storage under control so that you don't just suddenly run out. So yeah, that sounds like a very useful follow-on from previous update. Thank you, Adam. I think we've got Google. We're starting to get into the main updates now. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. So, next up, this one is an admin update. So, updated experience for exporting your organization's data. So, Google is introducing new capabilities for exporting your organization's data, giving customers greater flexibility over managing their organization's data export needs. These changes include the option to export user-generated content by organizational unit and export user-generated content by group. This update is available to Google Workspace Enterprise Plus, Education Standard, and Education Plus customers only. So historically, data export has been limited to a customer's full set of user-generated content. However, customers sometimes need a more frictionless experience when managing their data exports, especially as their business and compliance needs continue to evolve. By providing more granular and flexible export tools, customers can retrieve the specific data they need when they need it.
Yeah, that's very, very relevant, as you've alluded to there, in the fact that the compliance needs are changing, and sometimes it isn't appropriate, or even within your employee handbook, let's say, or within your GDPR notice, that you're just exporting everything, that you're just taking everything out when you're doing those data exports. And this is something that's coming up more and more. I mean, I speak to customers who are concerned sometimes that all of their company data is just with Google and all held by Google, and they get quite nervous about that, and they would like a copy of it. You know, they would like something themselves. So having a bit more control over those export tools would be, or rather the export criteria would be really, really good. Bit of a shame that it's only available in the business sector, for example, in Enterprise Plus, but hopefully maybe we'll start to see that filter down to some of the other versions as it starts to evolve. When is that going to be available then, Adam?
So rapid release and scheduled release started on December the 20th.
Great, okay, so already starting to see that. Lovely. And what have we got next there, Adam?
Next up, we've got an update to do with Google Voice. So Google Voice standard customers can assign phone numbers in other voice countries in their region. So previously, Google Voice customers on the standard subscription could only assign phone numbers in the country of their subscription. Now Google Voice customers on the standard subscription in Canada, Europe and the US can assign phone numbers to any supported country in their region. So customers in Europe can assign phone numbers in supported European countries. Customers in Canada and the US can assign phone numbers in both countries. So this gives customers on the standard SKU the flexibility to deploy voice across different countries they operate in within the same region. So just a note on that, to assign numbers across regions, for example, a customer in Europe requiring a US phone number, you will need to upgrade to the Google Voice Premier.
I see. Okay, so yeah, you can assign different regions, but if you wanted to go right across, like it says there, Europe to US, it needs to be a Premier, whereas other ones, like you described, in Europe you can have a European number. So here in the UK, for example, we could have a number in France on the standard one. I think I've understood that correctly. Well, yeah, I mean that's really useful to anybody. I think it would mainly be really in corporate, but I can see it even being relevant to maths or something like that within the education sector, but certainly within corporate, of those customers who do have different regional offices and want to sort of combine those numbers into one subscription or one area that's centralized. I can imagine that being pretty useful. And I think probably Google are trying this out with doing it as they've described. Europe can have European numbers, and then Canada and the US, and hopefully they'll kind of expand that out a little bit more to be some other numbers. And I think I'm right in saying this is just available for all Google Voice standard customers. That's what this applies to. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. So this feature is available now, but it is only available to Google Voice standard customers.
Yeah, no problem, because it's not Google Voice, from my understanding, is one of the very, very few things that's not really part of Workspace. It's kind of a bit of an add-on subscription. It's very, very few things that aren't part of the overall Workspace subscription, but I believe that is one of them. Lovely. What have we got next there, Adam?
Great. So next up, this is a fun little update if you're so inclined. Ooh. So there's now more filter effects available for Google Meet. So Google Workspace customers can now access a variety of new filter effects on Google Meet on the web and mobile. These filters, such as there's a log head, literally turn yourself into a log. There's a strawberry and a working bunny, just to name a few.
Oh, strawberry! Oh my God, we've got to use that one, right? With Strawberry
Before
7,
we actually started recording, I actually had a look to see if this feature was already available, so I could literally pop up as a strawberry, just to literally give you a visual demonstration of how this would actually look. But I think it's probably because we're on a scheduled release, then possibly, then we don't have access to this just yet. But if you do have access to this, do have lots of fun turning yourself into a strawberry or a big log.
I love the fact I'm sorry, I know I've interrupted you halfway through delivering this, but I love the fact that is what Google went with: loghead, strawberry, or working bunny. Those were the three ones that they picked out of all the things they could have picked. That's an interesting choice. Personally, I would have gone for things like cat, dog, horse. I would have gone for maybe some more normal things rather than a log. But, each to their own with Google. I'm sure they had their reasons for doing that. I'm so sorry, Adam, I interrupted you. You please carry on.
That's quite right. So, anybody that's interested in this, the effects can be found in the effects panel and can be added before or during a call. So, for admins can control whether these effects are on or off for their users. The default for this is that it is going to be off for Google Workspace education users, which I think is a very sensible choice, because I'm sure kids would just love to run with this. But this will be on by default for all other Google Workspace editions, including Google Workspace individual users. So if for anybody, if they wanted to get started with this, to control the availability of these effects, navigate to Apps, then Google Workspace, then Settings for Google Meet, Meet video settings. So that will be in the Google admin console. And just a note on that: that effects do not stick between meetings, calls, or breakout rooms, and cannot currently be combined with backgrounds or style. So if you have a different visual effects going on, maybe you've blurred your background out, or you've added your own custom wallpaper for your background, then you cannot have yourself as a strawberry in front of your background. I'm sorry about it.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, I can imagine that would be pretty complex for it to figure out to sort of react to your background and change your face and your head and everything at the same time. So yeah, I can imagine that being a bit of a challenge for the software. So you said, I think you were saying that we don't seem to have this available for us yet, but when is this meant to be available?
So rapid and scheduled release started on December the 21st, but it may take up to 15 days or so for it to get pushed out. With lots of these updates, just because they start on one date doesn't mean that they're actually available to absolutely everybody just on that one date. Sometimes it does take a little bit longer. But I think, as you've previously mentioned, we're on the scheduled release, so we're due to get our updates just that little bit later behind. So this is also going to be available to all Google Workspace customers, Legacy, G Suite Basic and Business customers, and it is also available to users with a personal Google account.
Oh wow, so really available right across the board then. So like, it is quite a fun update, isn't it? So why it'd be a bit weird if they just made it available to like enterprise customers or something like that. Be a bit strange. But I love the fact that they've left that off for Google Workspace education users. I mean, on a serious note, it is nice to see Google starting to understand a little bit more. I think Google would be the first to admit themselves that before the pandemic, they had Google Classroom and things like that, but I don't think it really got education very well. And I really think that the pandemic helped them to understand education a bit better, understand the challenges in education, understand the difficulties that are there. And this is a very, very good example of, I think, pre-pandemic Google would have just released this to everyone without a second thought. Whereas post-pandemic Google is thinking, we know what it's like in an education environment. We know how disruptive a feature like this could be. As much as we think it's a great idea, as adults, we realise how disruptive this feature might be in the hands of children. So it's nice to see that they've taken that into account there. I think we've got one more update. Is that right, Adam?
Yes, that's right. So the last update for this week is to do with Google Chat. So quickly refine search results in Google Chat with search chips. So Google is expanding an existing mobile feature to the web that helps you find exactly what you're looking for much faster, using search chips that filter your search results. The filters available to help you find messages are from, which is messages sent from specific people, said in, messages which are messages said in a specific conversation or space, date, which is the date that a specific message was sent within a specific date range, has file, so you can search if a message included a document, spreadsheet, slides, and more, has a link, whether that message included a link, or mentions me, so messages that directly mentioned you. So that would be if somebody types, say, at your name, so then they're messaging you directly, essentially.
That's going to be super handy for searching through those messages, because I think we actually talked about this weirdly recently, where I think you were trying to find something in messages, or I was trying to find something in messages, and I remember you saying, oh yeah, like the Google Chat facility is great. Google Chat is lovely, but it can be a bit of a pain finding stuff in the messages, because you type in a search criteria and it just searches everything. And you think, I don't want to search everything. I want to search kind of, I know a bit more about what I want to find. And some of these criteria are going to be fantastic. Like if you know that you sent somebody something, like a document or a link or something like that, but you can't quite remember exactly what it was, just being able to say, show me the messages that just include, like you say, an attachment or a link or something like that, is straight away going to be so handy, as well as the date ranges and things.
Yes, exactly. So, for example, as you just said, maybe you remember that you've sent something to somebody. Maybe you don't remember the exact file name of what it was that you sent. So it'd be a bit more challenging to just search, say, Google Drive for whatever it was. But you remember you sent it to somebody, or maybe you remember who you actually sent it to. So then, yeah, as you say, if you're able just to see everything that you sent to somebody, especially if it was quite recently, then it'll help you find whatever it is you're looking for much quicker.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I really think that's a very useful feature. And we've got a bit more information about getting started with this, right?
Yes, so there's no admin controls for this feature, but for the end users to find a specific message with the help of search filter chips, type in your keywords in the search bar in chat.google.com or the chat mobile app and then hit enter. On the search results page, you can see the filter chips above the results. Then click on the filter chips to apply the filter to the search results. For chat in Gmail, type in your keywords in the search bar, navigate to the messages tab on the search results page. You can then see filter chips above the results. Click on the filter chip to apply the filter to the search results.
Very useful to know the process for doing that. And just for anybody who might have heard Adam mention Gmail there and thought, hang on a second, I thought we were talking about Google Chat. For anybody who doesn't know, Google Chat directly integrates into Gmail. So some of you out there might not use Gmail directly. You might use Outlook or you might use Mac Mail. I am finding it very difficult to get away from Mac Mail, I must admit. Mainly though because I have so many mail accounts, it's quite useful to have them all in one mail application. But Gmail itself is extremely powerful. I mean, I find myself going to Gmail more and more, especially when I want to search. Mac Mail search, dreadful. Outlook search, probably even worse. So the search in Gmail is fantastic, and the Google call this sort of interface, I don't think it's really a Google thing, I think it's a bit of an IT buzz term, but they call it the single pane of glass. So the idea is you go to Gmail and most of the things that you need are within Gmail, and one of them is chat, and there's actually chat built directly within Gmail. And I find throughout my day it's extremely useful when I'm doing stuff in Gmail and one of you guys will message me and I don't have to open the chat application or go to chat on the web or anything. Right there within Gmail I can just open the message, reply, and ping about. And it's kind of much more built for the modern way of doing things, right, where we're not anchored to like one device or one app or one way of doing things particularly. We kind of flow through different ways of through different devices that we use. You might message on your phone, but then you message on your computer, then you message on your iPad, all in the same app. It's just shared across those devices. So it's good to see that search is included everywhere in that sort of single pane of glass, and the search itself is really, really useful as well. I think we'll probably be using this in the near future.
Yes, absolutely. I completely agree. I can see myself very much using this, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And who's this sort of going to be available for, and do we have a time for this, Adam?
So this feature is now available for everybody right now. It's already out, so that's great. This is also going to be available to all Google Workspace customers as well as legacy G Suite Basic and Business customers, and it is also available to users with a personal Google account.
Fantastic. So right across the board then, which is really, really nice. Yeah, that's really great to see that they've made that available to everybody. I'm sure that in the near future we're going to see some updates or some updatelets to this feature where they're going to add in new search criteria and different things that you can search for.
Yes, I expect so. Next time it'll probably be the exact same update, but within chats within Google Meet or something like that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right there. Yeah. I think you're on the money there. Great. Well, that is our last update, and that's it, everybody. That is everything that you need to know about the latest updates happening around Google Workspace. Remember that this podcast is available in audio format from your regular podcast provider, and if you want to see Adam and I in our festive gear, then you can head over to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/strawberry7. All that's left for me to say is a very, very Merry Christmas to you and a Happy New Year. Or if you don't celebrate Christmas, then happy holidays to you and enjoy the time off at least. And we hope you, from Adam and I, hope you have, and all of us at Strawberry 7, hope you have a really, really fantastic festive break and a really, really great New Year. And we're going to see you on the 9th of January 2023.
So we'll be back very soon with more updates.
Goodbye.
Bye!